Democrats are dying out. They are shrinking, and that's the good news. However, they're getting more and more violent and murderous. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Now, remember, they projected onto the right that we were getting violent, MAGA extremists, and there were white supremacists everywhere, killing minorities. It was all false, of course. What they were really doing was projecting what was going on inside of their own hearts. That's why they can look at a Tesla dealership up in flames and go, we don't have anything to do with that. Or losing 300,000 children in trafficking because of their open border. And they go, we don't have anything to do with that. You know, assassination attempts on the president. Let's go into exactly why they think they can be this violent. They believe Trump, in their own mind, they built him up as a bigger existential threat than even Biden or even their own violence.
In the book, you quote a longtime Biden aide basically admitting he shouldn't be running again. They said to you on page 85, he just had to win and then he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. His aides could pick up the slack. Who would have been running the White House in a second Biden term?
Well, this person went on to say that when you're voting for a president, you're voting for the aides around him. But these aides were not even Senate confirmed aides. These are White House aides. These were unelected people. And one of the things that
is, by the way, an actual insurrection. And remember, they accused Trump of insurrection also, while they were actually pretending that Biden, he's a Manchurian candidate. They pretended that he was the president.
The presidency was taken away from Joe Biden. And I'm no Biden fan, but I'll tell you what, from a constitutional standpoint, from any standpoint you look at, they took the presidency away. And people were saying he lost after the debate. He couldn't win. Well, I don't know that that's true necessarily. But whether he could win or he couldn't win, he had the right to run. And they took it away. They said they're going to use the 25th Amendment. They're going to hit you hard. Either we can do it the nice. I know exactly because I know a lot of people on the other side. They said, we'll do it the nice way or we'll do it the hard way.
They didn't care who was the president. They didn't, that is, vote for anyone, just get them over the finish line and then the aides will take over from there. That is what they do.
If you believe, and I think a lot of these people do sincerely believe that Donald Trump was and is an existential threat to democracy, you can rationalize anything, including sometimes doing undemocratic things, which I think is what this person is talking about.
Including an assassination. Many Democrats champion, they literally believe that if President Trump got assassinated, it would be less dangerous for America. Even if he was assassinated, and these are all Democrat assassins so far trying to take him out. I've got another story breaking later in this episode of another assassination attempt. When you demonize the enemy to that degree, and I demonize Biden to some degree, I demonize Marxists, leftists, Democrats, at the very least because they're so naive and anti-human. They lost 300,000 children at the border, even while they bold-faced lied to us saying the border was secure. I do think of them as very dangerous, but they kept saying through marketing that Trump was an existential threat.
This president is not fit to remain in office.
For years, Donald Trump has honored thugs worldwide who suppress democracy. Trump basically attempted to overthrow the government.
Gentleman from Massachusetts,
if this is
reserves.
Not impeachable,
the gentleman
nothing
from
is.
Oklahoma is recognized.
Telling domestic terrorists, nearly all of them were white supremacists, many of them who support him politically.
I rise today to urge the impeachment of Donald Trump because the attack on the Capitol and the Congress was the single most depraved betrayal of the U.S. Constitution ever committed by a president. The traitorous incitement of an insurrection demands not just impeachment, but removal of office.
And Democrats, we know, they tend to follow the media more. They tend to believe the media and experts more and institutions more. And so they're more susceptible to the kind of mainstream media lies that we don't. And even Tapper's going to say it by the end of this episode, that Republicans are not as prone to lies as the Democrats are. I'll explain later. First, here's Elon Musk.
So I call a magic money computer any computer which can just make money out of thin air. That's magic money.
So he discovered magic money computers in the federal government. And remember, this is what Democrats are trying to protect, is their ability to just print money without any accountability.
How does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are, but there's some at HHS, there's one or two at state, there's some at DOD. I think we found now 14 magic money computers. They just send money out of nothing.
That's how a lot of the Democrats funded their stuff through USAID and through these NGOs and through fake charities, always saying that they're going to save the children. We're saving children. Unlike you Republicans, we like saving children as they abort them. All of the hinge of dismantling the left came from Elon Musk. You'd be living in a different world. Without Elon Musk, you wouldn't even know about the depth of the Biden cover-up. It all came down to him buying Twitter.
Literally within few days of it being, maybe even the same day of it being announced that he was buying it, I had put out a clip on my channel where I said, of all things that Elon Musk has ever done or will ever do, none count as much as him having bought Twitter.
And that's what we said on this channel when he bought Twitter. And everyone's going, Doug, you got to do these videos on election integrity. I'm going, no, the biggest change in the history of politics just now happened when Elon Musk bought Twitter. And it took my audience a while to pick up on it because you were so misled by mainstream media on both the left and the right, trying to get you distracted on battles that did not matter. The key battle that needed to matter was Elon Musk buying Twitter. Because with that, we put a stake in the ground, got a foothold on free speech. You would not have free speech on the internet right now without it, because he also helped get Trump elected, and that also saved free speech. This is NPR, so I like getting lefty sources. You can trust it because they would never do anything to help try to make Trump look sympathetic. So here's U.S. German citizen is charged with trying to attack the U.S. embassy in Tel Aviv. For what purpose? To assassinate Trump. A dual citizen has been arrested on charges that he traveled to Israel. Again, this is German, U.S. German. What is it about Germans and traveling to Israel to blow up embassies? And attempted to firebomb the branch office of the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv, they say, Sunday. He brought Molotov cocktails with him. Law enforcement then tracked Neumeier is his name, down to a hotel a few blocks away from the embassy and arrested him. According to criminal complaints filed, Eastern District of New York, his goal was to assassinate Trump at the embassy. Here's the weird part, because you guys are saying, like, some of the Democrats, maybe in my audience, maybe one or two Democrats have ever watched my show, but they go, Doug, it's mean. You can't say we're bad and we're terrorists. Well, all the terrorists that keep showing up are Democrat radicals. What kind of Democrat radical? Well, here's the receipts on this guy. Breaking. The man who plotted to take President Trump's life and bomb the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv, a German-American dual citizen, Joseph Neumeier, made 118 donations to Democrat causes through Act Blue. Now, here's the donations on the screen. You guys can argue with that. And Act Blue is the charity set up with George Soros funding, Mark Elias, who did all the election stuff of the last election. And here is yet another shooter, this isn't the first, to make donations to Act Blue, which funds, micromanages, tries to wash money out to influence elections. I can't even go into some of the detail on it because I might get my channel in trouble. Here's the New York Post. Jake Tapper admits Democratic cover-up of Biden's cognitive decline may be worse than Watergate. The Democrats' big boogeyman was Watergate and Nixon. And that really is what changed America from the 60s of outrageous campus bombings and hippies and anti-war protests to the Nixon conspiracy. It all went down with Nixon, and Watergate became the icon of American decline, radicalness, craziness. And now we have a greater cover-up, a greater anti-democratic crime in the cover-up of Biden's decline. And the only way you know about it, again, is because of Elon Musk. This stuff got broken. Here's Jake Tapper on Piers Morgan, absolutely always lying and degrading himself every time he tries to explain his way out of why he lied.
But Jake, in your case, do you feel that you owe the American people an apology for slightly dropping the ball with this?
Is that what we call it? And here's another one. Remember, every Democrat, almost every Democrat, covered up Biden's decline. Does every Democrat owe everyone else an apology for telling that lie? And I'm only saying, if you don't have to apologize, I don't have to apologize. So, because you're going to come up with 50 million lies by Trump. You're going to go, but he lied here, he lied there. I go, yeah, but you just set the precedent that you don't have to apologize. If Jake Tapper doesn't have to apologize for the lie he told covering up Biden, then no journalist has to apologize for a lie of covering up for Nixon at Watergate. We're talking about standards, precedent. By what standard are you going to live? Tapper, proud, arrogant, non-apologetic, weaselly people in journalism I've ever seen.
And not just to Lara Trump.
I feel like I owe the American people an acknowledgement that
and acknowledgement is not an apology. That's another one. Get in a fight with your wife, okay, and she demands an apology and say, I'm not going to give you an apology. I'm going to give you an acknowledgement. It's like you'd be divorced.
I wish I had covered the story better.
Well, I wish I'd done better at the stock market, is what he's saying.
Knowing what we know now and looking back on that interview, which I feel tremendous humility about, she was right and I was wrong. I did not see in the moments he was having, I did not see that as cognitive decline.
Okay, now hold on. Usually when you say she was right and I was wrong, that should trigger an apology. It's not just she was right about a list of facts and he was wrong about a list of facts. It's she was right about Biden's decline and he was wrong in attacking her and impugning her character.
She did. Our reporting suggests that she was correct. So I feel humility. I've apologized to her.
You feel humility. By the way, I don't care if you feel pride.
And I think this is something, quite frankly, that other journalists should think about when it comes to other mistakes, because I'm surely not.
You know what this guy needs to do? He needs to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous will teach you how to apologize, because this is blame the victim and blame everyone and talk all around it. Instead, this is why I mentioned the Jewish thinker Maimonides, is you go in and you go to the person, you go, how have I harmed you? Okay, and you go down the list of ways that you were harmed. I am sorry. You only make I statements in your apology. I am sorry. And then you go and you go, is there anything I can do to make up for my sin against you and the damage I did? Then the person gives you a list of commands, or they say, no, I forgive you completely, or whatever. So Jake Tapper needs to learn how to do what I taught my kids in 3rd grade on how to apologize. I know how to apologize. Doesn't make it easy to apologize. I don't want to apologize ever. I'm a proud fallen human being saved by Jesus Christ. I'll apologize to God, but I'm not apologizing to you, to a person. I'm like, imagine going to your siblings or your children or your parents and apologizing. You have to go in and say, I did this. I was wrong. You were right. Will you forgive me? Is there anything I can do to make it right? Those are I am sorry are the 3 hardest words any human being will ever say.
Not the only American journalist that wishes he or she had covered this better. In legacy media, I should point out, conservative media was on this from the very beginning.
Conservative media was on this from the beginning. I'm going to end because I am conservative media and we were on this from the very beginning and we got it right. And that's not a ha-ha, I told you so. It's just that, conservative media is everyone on the right half of media got this right. Everyone on the left half of media, by the way, they too actually got it right in that they understood there was a decline to cover up. Everyone on the left knew. They knew Biden was decrepit, unable to lead America. They knew. So it's not that you all didn't know and you were innocent. It's the left half of America knew and decided that Trump's was so damaging and they were so terrified of it that any lie was justified. They lied. The left half, every Democrat did it. They at least lied to themselves. I'm Doug in exile.